Hello, welcome to the Konnekt-000-7 experience. Here, we come to the podcast where human connection is everything. If you're trying to connect better with those around you, you're in the right spot. So please, sit back, relax, open your mind, and enjoy the experience. Hello there, Konnekt-000-7 Tribe. I am the host of this amazing podcast. My name is Thaddeus Sims, and today is our 76th episode titled The 5 Love Languages. Now, I'm very surprised that I did not go over none of this earlier in the podcast history, which is very funny. We're reaching the 76th episode, and I'm just now talking about 5 love languages. And if you don't know what that is, that's okay. You're going to know today. Now, before going into this, I have to share my announcements and fun fact. So there are 2 announcements. The first one you've been hearing for so long now, which is let's get the Konnekt-000-7 page to 1,000. Once we do that, there is an amazing gift that I have for everybody. And also it is our anniversary coming up for November 20th. So that is when to get the page to 1,000, right? So you've been hearing that. You know this. Let's do it. And now, another thing that I would like to announce with you all, I mentioned this in the last podcast towards the end, but a new addition that I'm adding to the Konnekt-000-7 platform is that I'm creating courses to help individuals find themselves. So this is just catered to individuals who may feel lost. They don't really know their purpose, why they're here, different things like that. And this is something that I'm very passionate about helping people with, because there was a very, very long period of my life where I was like lost. I had an idea of things, but it just was not clear. And it was kind of bothering me for the longest time. And there was things that I had to really experience and go through in order to really find myself. And not only that, but to be confident in who I was and then some. So this course, again, is going to be catered for those people who are just lost. And if you're listening to this podcast, yes, I do know that I focus on helping you connect with others and yourself. But this is going to be for those who may listen to the podcast and other people who are just maybe lost and not really sure what to do. You may be stuck somewhere, right? You may not have direction. You may not have clarity. And with this course that I'm creating, I'm keeping it very simple and just having it tailored around just certain questions really to ask yourself that I have come to discover in my 27 years of really trying to figure out who I was, which I discovered, but just trying to figure out who I was able to break all of that down. So 20 plus years of finding myself down into a 5-week course that is coming up. So I am working to release that by October 22nd. And that is coming out soon. But definitely, if you would like to know more information on that, by all means, just email me on the contact page of the Facebook too. You can Facebook Messenger on the Konnekt-000-7 page, or you could DM me on Instagram, or you can use the contact me page on the Konnekt-000-7 website. So yeah, guys, that is a new addition to the platform. Now, I know that has been a long time coming because I have been saying there's something more that needs to be added. And honestly, guys, there is much more to come, but this is the newest one at the moment. So if you like more information, give me a holler, and you'll get more information on that. Now, moving into the fun fact, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter are all banned in China. Apparently, those aren't the only ones either. Over 8,000 domain names are blocked. So other major banned social media network sites include Pinterest and Tumblr. And I have a business partner who actually moved to China earlier this year. And was it earlier this year? I think it was earlier this year. Whatever. She moved to China, and when she was there, like, she went kind of like ghost. Like, none of us heard from her. We thought something happened for a minute, but apparently she's okay. And I guess the only way she was able to actually even contact us was, I believe, through WhatsApp and some other platform. I'm not really sure what it is, but yeah, she could only contact us through those two things. So we could not get through her on Messenger, on Facebook, none of her major things. And I was like, dang, girl, your whole business is online. So how you gonna make that work over there in China? So that was a whole thing that I learned. So yeah, apparently that's what that is. That was a long tangent on a fun fact, but it just blew my mind. Like, wow, it makes me curious of why those things are banned. Well, then again, anyways, yes, that is the fun fact. Now let's dive into this episode. So, what are the 5 love languages, right? So what are they? And if this is your first time like hearing this, then it's okay. You're going to learn today. Because when I first heard of it, someone was like, love languages. I'm like, what? There's a language to this? Okay. And there's 5? Okay. And then I learned about them. I was like, oh, this makes sense. Okay. So here what they is. This what they be. The first one, which is, there's no particular order, but this is just for me. The first one is words of affirmation. The second is physical touch. The third is acts of service. Fourth is gifts. And the fifth is quality time. What the heck does all of that mean in particular to love languages? So for someone whose love language is words of affirmation, that just means they love compliments or you saying really nice things about them. You're very beautiful. You're so smart. You are awesome. Any type of compliment. That's just their love language. That lets them, when you say that, that makes them feel loved. The next one is physical touch. It doesn't have to be over the top like public display of affection, but it could be just holding hands or a hug, a high five, resting your arm around them, just different things like that. Sometimes even like when you're laying down, like sometimes you'll rest your leg over your partner, right? It's just physical touch. When you touch them, and let's not make this be creepy, but when you touch them, that just makes them feel as though they're loved. The next is acts of service. So that just basically means that you do random acts of service for your partner. Now, that could be cleaning up for them or cleaning up the house. That could be doing laundry. That could be giving them a massage. Any type of act of service to let them know, hey, babe, I love you. And you just do these simple things. The next one is gifts. And gifts pretty much just, it doesn't make, okay, let me say this first. When it comes to gifts, it doesn't mean that the person is materialistic at all. But what it means is that they care about the thoughts behind the gift. That you took the time to get them something, right? So gifts would be obviously any gift. You can go buy something, or if you're someone who creates something, you can create something for them, design something, any type of gift. They love that. And then the last one is quality time. And that one is just spending quality time with the individual. So not being distracted, not being on your phone, not doing some other stuff, but taking like an hour, 2 hours, half of the day to spend time with your partner. And you plan that out and then some, right? Now, how do you use this to connect better with your loved ones? So the first thing is to really know what their love language is and also what your love language is. Now, for me, my love language, I'm a weird individual. So I know I think I have a few, a couple or more, but they are only activated with certain individuals. I'm weird. I'm going to say that now. Some of you may just have one and you're solid. Some of you may have one and a little bit of the other. But I know for me, mine is quality time and physical touch. If I really, 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 really love you and like you, you might get some type of acts of service. Don't bet on that. Don't look forward on that, but you may kind of get that. Now, that is mine. So if you're spending quality time with me or taking the time, I feel loved. If you give me a hug or something like that, I feel loved. If you do an act of service for me, it's kind of weird. It's kind of like, you didn't have to do that, but thank you. If you get me a gift, that is kind of weird too. It's like, okay, thank you. That's not my thing. Words of affirmation, I tend to give that to people like a lot. Like I feel like that's my default for everybody. Like I just love complimenting people and finding things to compliment people on. So that is what I like to do with other people. But this is where I get weird. If you compliment me, it's kind of like, oh, you have to do all that, but thank you. But like, I appreciate it. Like I'm always complimented on my hair or height or something like that. And I'm just like, oh, thank you so much. But when you do it like I do it, it's like, no, you don't got to do all of that. It's okay. It's okay. I'm weird, right? But some of you that just may be your thing. And then you have to figure out what your partner's on is. How do you do this? Ask them the question. Hey, babe, what's your love language? They may they may say, what is that? And you just tell them, is it words of affirmation? And everything that I told you about that. Is it physical touch, acts of service, gifts, quality time, right? There's actually a whole book on this. So if you would like to, you can just literally type in the 5 love languages and there's a whole book you can like really go into details with if you would like. Now, again, how to use this to connect better with your loved ones is once you know what yours is, theirs is, you know how to show your partner that you love them, even your friends and family that you love them. So when I am around certain friends, I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't really look to it with everybody because that's just me. But those who I see enough and we talk with enough, I do tend to ask them what their love languages are to really show, hey, I love you. And I'm looking to get out of how I normally receive love to figure out what yours is so I can show you that I love you, right? So that's one thing that you can do. Once you know it, you can do different things. Now, I actually want to move into a particular point, which is what to do when yours and someone else's is different. Now, if you both have the same, you're pretty much good. You don't have nothing to worry about, right? But when it's different and you're not really aware, it can cause a bit of confliction, and it requires a bit of awareness for you to really see what the other person's is and understand it, right? And recognize it. Really is the big thing, to recognize it. So here's what I mean. My love language. So my little brother, this was some time ago. Me and my little brother were very close. And so there was a period where we used to spend a lot of quality time. So when we kind of stopped, it kind of, I don't know, I didn't feel the love as much. So I always say my love tank is low. So I always say that with certain individuals. I'm like, hey, my, whatever their name is, my love tank is low. So if your name was Tim and you're my little brother, I'm like, my Tim love tank is low. I'm gonna need you to fill that up, and it's just like, that's my communication of, I'm not feeling love recently. So we need to talk about this. Now, a lot of people may say really, but I'm like, I'm so serious. Like, yeah, a lot of people don't want to say nothing. They want to pretend and be all hard and say, oh, I don't need that. But I'm gonna tell you, we're human beings. We need our love, especially for the ones we love. I'm going to say it like it is. I'm not afraid to say it. So if I feel like my love tank is low, I'm going to tell you. And you're going to do something about it. If not, it's going to be issues. And all of my friends know, if they don't do nothing about it, it's going to be issues. That's just what it is. We've established this. They know I'm whatever. I'm crazy, and it's okay. And I'm going to embarrass myself, and I'm just telling you guys, it is what it is. That's just how I am. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, guys. I'm not going to not say nothing and then feel some type of way later and bury that stuff in. Like, no, we're not doing that. So for me, I'm going to tell you. Now, back to the example. So my little brother, there's a period and he was like busy, or we both were busy. I don't know. And since we didn't spend that much quality time, we talked, but I didn't feel the love. Now, what I had to realize that his love language is also, I believe his is like acts of service in a way. Yes, his is acts of service with other people, or whatever, in general, acts of service. So yes, that is his love language, acts of service. I didn't recognize that in the beginning. So my thing was quality time. And so it was just like, okay, we ain't spending that much quality time, so I'm not feeling it. But his was acts of service, meaning that he would do certain things for me, But at the time, I didn't really recognize that as oh, he does still care. I didn't really recognize that. So I since I didn't recognize that, I didn't acknowledge that. And I was just like, yeah, you doing all of this, but we ain't spending time with each other. So I'm not feeling it. So I completely threw like all the stuff that he was doing away. Until I got back into learning the love languages and realizing, this is his love language. This is not my love language. So that's when I'm weak in, right? Not weak in. That's just the one that's not for me. And I had to recognize, okay, no, he does not do this for everybody. It takes, he has to really love you and care for you to do something for you, for anybody. He don't do this with just anybody. And I knew this, right? I knew he just don't do that with anybody. But when I got back into the book, it was just like, this he does care, but I have to recognize it, that he does it differently. So once you recognize that, your partner, your friend, your relatives, their zone is different, you'll be able to recognize that they are showing you that they love you. It just may not be in the way that you're used to receiving it. So your job is to recognize that and understand that they are showing it to you. When I did that, that completely changed the game for me to learn more about my brother, and also to really just kind of get out of myself, because I was so focused on me, but not realizing that he actually was enjoying me, but I didn't recognize it. So I'm sharing that story with you all to save you from that. So some of y'all might have little issues with certain people. You may not address it or say it loud like I do, but that may be something for you to look at and really ask your partner, whoever, loved one, friends, whatever their love language is. What is it? Now, another example would be, this one is a bit different, right? Now, I experienced one. There was an individual. Was this a family member? I believe this was a family member. I believe so. No. This is a close friend. Okay. So it's funny. I'm sorry, guys. There'd be so many people that I know that they have similar things that they do, and I'm trying to remember, is that a family member? Because that does sound like that family member, right? But there's a particular individual at the moment, right? Until I pinpoint which one they are specifically. But anyway, there's this particular individual. They orbit in and out of my life, not in a bad way, but it's like 1 minute they're here, and then the next minute they're probably overseas somewhere, and then they come back. They have some family or whatever they're doing, and they go again. We catch up and stuff like that. So this one individual, their love language was gifts. That's not for me whatsoever. I don't really give gifts, and I don't really care to receive gifts like that, right? But my love language is quality time. So some of our conflictions was, I'm trying to spend time with this individual, but that's not their love language. They're like, I don't got to see you. I can give you a gift. I can mail something to you. I can be like, hey, yeah, I thought of you here. And they go, it's kind of like, okay, I wasn't really feeling that. Right. But what I had to understand again, because we have different love languages, you know what? This person really does care about me. This person really does love me. Though they give me gifts and that's not my thing, I know that that's their love language, and they're showing that they love me by, gifting me something or whatever. That's their thing. And so I recognize that. And also they recognize too that I would always try to spend some type of quality time with them. And so what we would do, instead of sitting down together, we may take some time to talk on the phone, or message each other, something like that. That was kind of like a medium for the quality time thing, right? So that's just my whole point on that, is really just recognize other people's love languages when it comes to connecting with them, and so you don't have any conflictions like I did, and you don't sit here look stupid well, I wasn't feeling it, so I feel like you don't really love me like that, or let me save y'all from that. So this is actually a very good exercise for you to do with someone you care for, be it a friend, be it a family member, be it your loved one, to really just ask them, hey, what's your love language? And when they tell you guys, you'll be very, very surprised how that will actually change the game. And I actually do this now with other people, and I will ask them, hey, what is your love language? I'm very curious. And they may have a mix of it, and we have a good conversation of why it is. And I learn why, certain things aren't. And it helps me to, okay, I know not to get this person a gift, but I do know this person may love physical touch. So a hug, there are huggers. Like, I have a lot of friends who are huggers. It's awesome. And then acts of service. Some people, it's like, nah, I really, really have to care for you to do that one. So it's like, I guess, like, it's bad. Let me just tell it myself, and then we're gonna end it on this part. But when it comes to the acts of service, I think I have 3 people or more. I could forget 3 people or more on a waiting list of mine for me to cook them a certain item. I personally hate cooking, right? I do. I only cook to survive, really. That's it. I am not a chef. I do not like to go in the kitchen and get them pots shaking. I do not. So when people ask me, oh, you should cook for me, I'm like, no. And it's like, but I really care for them. Okay, yes, I will do it. But it's one of those, it has to be the right moment. I don't know, it's weird. Like, if they're by me and it's like, you know what? Hey, I happen to be by the store. You're going to be over for some time. Let me make you those fried mushrooms that I promised you that I would make a year ago. And I know someone in particular, if they're listening to this episode, they're probably laughing their ass off at this. But because I do owe someone some fried mushrooms and some other stuff. And I think I owed another person some waffles and whatever. But it's just like, cooking for someone or doing an act of service, that's just not my thing. I'd rather like, hey, come over and let's just hang out and talk. That's it. But yeah, guys, that's just not my thing. So I'm just telling on myself, and it's okay. I accept that's who I am. But, I'll do it if I really, 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 really love you. So yeah, guys, that is the 5 love languages. You can read the book, or just look it up and just have this conversation with your individuals. I feel like this whole episode was just me picking on myself, and you all probably laughing like, this guy, or some of you guys like, oh, I actually really learned something, and laughing actually was a bonus. Who knows? So that is the end of this part of the podcast. The next one is Our Health is Wealth, and this one is kind of in the same flow that I've been doing things recently, which is like taking breaks and stuff like that. But this one's a little bit different. So the health is wealth. This topic is really just disconnect from everything, right? And what do I mean by that? Because a lot of us, we take breaks, which I talked about, which is good. But disconnect from everything, I feel is like, that is like well needed. I want to say at least like, I can't really put a time on it because everybody's schedule is different. I know for myself, when I disconnect from everything, I would say it's at least 2 to 3 times out the year, I would say, for myself. And what disconnect from everything means is like disconnected from the people, disconnected from social media, technology, your phone, just everything. And just just enjoying your own solitude, right? Like, just an example of what I mean by disconnect from everything is that I will turn my phone off. This is what I mean, guys. I'm gonna give y'all like real deal. This is what I mean by disconnect. I will turn my phone off and place it in a different room, and I will have my laptop. I will turn that off and probably put that in a closet somewhere, and also the day before, I'll let people know, hey, disconnecting. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't come over. All of that, right? Give people an announcement that, hey, don't call me, no nothing. Let people know because they may think something's going on. So communicate. You having a disconnection day, and just like sit in the house and just relax or go somewhere, right? But if you want to do that, me personally, when I say disconnect, I ain't trying to see nobody. So I stay home. I might even clean, my room. I may even fold the clothes that I washed at least 2 months ago that I washed and I never fold and put them up. I'll do those different things, right? And I just don't be around people. I don't be on the phone. I'm probably not even watching TV. Maybe. So just disconnect from everything. But what are the benefits of that, right? Like complete disconnection is it allows you to recharge, refocus, and to listen to that inner guidance of yours. Now, here's what I mean by that. The recharge part. You'll be very surprised that when you disconnect from everything, you will notice how much mental and emotional energy you are expending when it comes to just simply living your life, i.e. texting people, i.e. making sure this is right, i.e. whatever you do with your job or projects, whatever it is, you will be very surprised by how much mental and emotional energy it goes out to that. So when you take a moment to disconnect from everything, you'll be very, very surprised by all of you'll be very surprised all the energy that comes back to you when you recharge. It's kind of like, this is what it feels, right? The next thing is refocus. Now, a lot of us, we are in different points of our lives. Some of us, we're growing different things, or we're growing ourselves, we're growing our business, we're a family, we're starting a family, we're doing this, we're doing that, right? And sometimes when we're so in the middle of everything, we cannot really, we kind of lose focus on what our main priorities are, right? Or our objectives, or what it is that we're trying to accomplish. So when you really disconnect from everything, it really allows you to just simply refocus on what it is that you were working to accomplish this week or this month or this year, right? And that's what that really does. I know for me, there's times where I've written stuff down and I was like, yeah, this is my main thing that I'm working to accomplish. And then next thing you know, a few months go by and I've already accomplished that thing forever ago. And I have no idea what it is that I'm really focusing on, that the main priority is now. And so it's good to just disconnect and be like, oh yeah, I did desire this. I did desire to go over here. I did desire to make this happen. I've already done that. What's next, right? And so it allows you to really refocus. And then the last thing, which is really, really important, I find is gold, is it allows you to listen to that inner guidance of yours, right? When you disconnect from everything and you remove all of the noise, you will start to get maybe inspiration or an idea or a feeling or something, like something is communicating to you to maybe do this, do that. It's different for everybody. All y'all know me. I'm weird. So my intuition will just speak to me, or I will see things, or I will hear things, whatever it may be. And it will just come to me like, hey, yeah, do this, or hey, you should do that, or hey, you haven't done this in a while. You need to bring that back up, or whatever it is. It just really allows you to hear that inner guidance because we're so distracted with so many priorities that we have, responsibilities that we have. So when we just have a moment to just disconnect, is really great. Now, a lot of us, we have, again, different schedules. We all do different things on this podcast. Who listen to this podcast, sorry. Some of you guys are working 90 plus hours a week. Some of you guys are working 20 plus hours a week. Some of you guys are constantly traveling and doing a bunch of many things. I realize there's a very diverse group of people who listen to the podcast. So some of you, you may ask yourself, well, how long should my disconnect from everything time be? And I feel like you really have to really look at your schedule and see like the stress levels that you're on. I know for me, usually about a good day is pretty much good for me. Sometimes I can get away with half a day and that works, but usually like a good solid day is good for me. Some people I know, they took at least a week to really disconnect. I know they usually have like some very high level things that they're doing that requires a lot of their time and energy and commitment. So when they have that time, they take a complete week to disconnect from everything. I know there are some individuals, it's rare if they can do it, but I know there are some who will take at least about a good month to do it. And that right there, man, that's a huge one right there. If you got to take a whole month, do it. By all means, do it. Some of you may need more, but you may be good with half a day, guys. Some of you may just be good with a few hours. It all depends on your lifestyle, but I would definitely say do take the time to disconnect from everything. That is very good. How often you should do it, again, that depends on your lifestyle. I know for me, like I said, about 2 to 3 times out of the year usually works for me. I know some people, they do it once a year. Others maybe do it twice a year. And some people do it 4 times out the year. They like to be in tune with the seasons, right? So it all really depends on you. But I would definitely say it's something that's very, very important that you should definitely take your time to really do for yourself. The benefits are amazing, and it's more than what I just said to you. I'm going to tell you that. It's more than what I said to you. It feels really good when you feel like you're being recharged. Like, I have talked with some individuals who say, man, I go to sleep and I still wake up tired. Like, they'll sleep longer than me sometimes, and they still wake up tired. And y'all know me, I sleep at least 8 hours is minimum for me. I can go at least 11 hours for sleep. I love sleep. It's my favorite sport. But I've had some individuals who say, man, I've slept, 8 hours and I am still tired. And most of the time, physically, you may be great, but mentally, you probably are exhausted, mentally drained, and emotionally drained. All of that may need time to refill. So a good disconnect is great for you. And so with that being said, guys, that is it for this podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to press play. I look forward to speaking with you all actually this Tuesday. I believe there's a guest speaker actually this Tuesday coming up, and she is really awesome. I'm not going to give her name away, but she's really awesome. And, hopefully nothing comes up with our schedules, but she's really good. She has her own podcast already. She's someone that I've met at the recent podcast conference that I went to earlier this year. She actually also was on, she was on a TED Talk. She actually had her own TED Talk, which we're going to talk on that when she gets on. And she, I believe, recently just did her 100th episode of her podcast, and she has an amazing story. So I'll actually look forward to that. So actually, you won't just be hearing from me Tuesday, but you'll be hearing from me and this guest speaker as well. She's amazing. So with that being said, guys, that is it for this episode, and I will talk with you all very, very soon. Later. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please leave a 5-star rating and share with a friend near you. Remember, the world's a better place because you exist. Know your worth and know thyself.